Hi, I'm Sherry Young. I'm a special education resource teacher at Cy-Fair Joel Elementary. What first interested me in becoming an educator was the incident when I was in 1994 at high school, changing the policy of special education needs children being in the hallways without an escort. And I got that policy changed so that it would be safe for the special needs children. Their opinion about my concern was that being escorted through the hallways would cut down the bullying on special needs children, so they agreed with me. If there was someone bullying one of my special needs children, I would sit down with that child and talk to them about how they're feeling, build them back up, and then talk about how maybe that bully was feeling and see if we can't build a relationship with them. It made me realize that I wanted to go and fight for more kids that couldn't speak for themselves. I went and got an agriculture education degree, but went into alternative certification program for special education because I realized those kids need someone who needs to advocate for them because they can't advocate for themselves. They can't speak for themselves. And so they need someone to stand up for them, whether it's in court of law or in education or against their foster parents or their parents, because sometimes their parents don't even know. Special education differs from general education or typical education in the form that we can provide more self-confidence. For example, in Special Olympics, most of our kids cannot go for UIL sports. Now, some do, but most of our kids cannot, for the fact that they cannot play UIL sports and keep up with the general ed kids. So we have Ms. Shriver, who founded Special Olympics, and so we can provide them with the team spirit, the sportsmanship, everything that UIL does, but on a playing field that is on their level. We can teach them all the things that they would do in a sportsmanship way and still have banquets for them, still have awards for them, still make them feel special, and everything that they would want to be proud of themselves and have ownership of something. And that's how I feel that it's different than typical education. My special needs children thrive in competition because they love the winning, and if they don't win, they love bouncing back from the thrill of it trying to win. My part in education makes a difference in others' lives because in reality, we have little Johnny who may need IEPs, individual education plans, and modifications and accommodations. We might have little Johnny who needs nothing, and we might have little Johnny in 5th grade who needs everything. Okay, so that's where I come in and make the big difference in the lives and help each individual student fit their needs to their education. I also help the general education teachers accommodate their lesson plans for each individual student at their accommodations, modifications of their individual education plans. For example, if there's a 5th grader who doesn't know his letters and sounds, then we have to modify the curriculum of reading to sounding out the letters first, because he's got to get to know those letter sounds. So a CVC word like cat, at, he's got to know that C is k, A is a, and t is t, right? So her 5th grade lesson plan is multisyllabic words. We've got to modify that down to CVC words. Every child is different. That's where it gets complicated. So one student might be higher in math or higher in reading. Or one student Writing is the hardest for all the students. That is just a given because they don't like to write. That's where they cower down. So you really got to build up their confidence in that writing. And we have technology now called ReadWrite that they can speak into the computer, speech to text, and it'll type out what they're saying so then they can copy down. I give back to my community by volunteering at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo on the Calf Scramble Committee, and I also volunteer with the Special Olympics Fundamentals team. I started out on the Special Olympics side for 25 years and just joined the fundamentals team for 2 years. So a few years ago we had Hurricane Harvey and the flood happened, and 2 of my students, special needs, their family were displaced, so I invited them here. They came, we got them here, we had to go get them in my truck. Their car wouldn't make it. So we made it a story time, camping time, and built a little fort in the living room. They loved it. When it was all said and done, they had lost everything. We got them up and running again with the community's help, but it was really the time that we spent together here that I remember most, and they remember, and they still call me to this day to say thank you for everything that we have. COVID was noteworthy because designing interactive online lessons was very difficult. Getting students to show up to class was very difficult. Getting teachers their accommodations for or differentiated lessons was difficult. During COVID, I was an adaptive PE teacher, adaptive physical education teacher. So one of the accomplishments were that we were able to make the classes more fun for the fact like throwing would be made out of paper or foil or things of common materials, or lifting weights would be a soup can or bottled water or things that they could use around the house. Things that I failed at would be like 4 students never coming to class, because you can't get them to come to class if they're at home. You can't drive to their house, knock on the door and say, hey, I need you to join the class. My plans and goals for the future would be to either become a reading facilitator, which is an admin position, or a special ed coordinator for the district. Reading facilitator, actually, I could apply for right now. Special ed coordinator would take a little bit more training. Everything I do would be the rodeo or Special Olympics. That's my whole life. We have property out west, and we go out there to decompress. We hike out there, we hunt out there, we go and fix things out there. So it's just a place to go. There's no radio, there's no TV, there is no cell phones, no computers. It's a place to go and just breathe. The one experience I had that taught me the most was winning the calf scramble and getting a calf to raise for the next year. It taught me financial experience. It taught me caring for a 600-pound calf and raising it for the next year until it was 2,000 pounds. It taught me deadlines. It taught me how to write essays. It taught me about life. It taught me so much at a high school age level how to prepare for life. I've been benefited from Marquis Who's Who because it makes me more proud of what I do. Someone recognizes you for what you do. It's not taken for granted. It's not just, oh, you're a teacher, it's 7 to 3. Someone recognizes that you put work and hard sweat into what you do, because this special needs is not 7 to 3. I'm there longer hours. I bring work home. I work spring break. I work Christmas, you know. I prepare throughout the summer for the next year. So it has brought me tremendous self-confidence, you know, that I didn't realize that I had. the trainings and professional developments. You know, I'm like, I know that. I can do that. I could teach this class to these other adults. Marquis Who's Who helped me really discover that about myself. When I won Teacher of the Year at my school, people was like, oh, it's a popularity contest. But being a Marquis listee Who's Who person, it wasn't a popularity contest. Y'all knew me from Timbuktu. They based it on work ethics and work and accomplishments. So it's like being a rock star.